Hello, good evening. Welcome to the couch. My name is Pratt. Thank you for staying with Pan-African TV. Tuesday evening, lovely evening. We are about to have two lovely conversations. Well, actually one lovely conversation and one conversation that is a little disturbing, and you'll find out why in due course. But let's start with lovely. I like lovely. Let's start with lovely. So our first conversation is themed From Seed to a Tree, Mahogany Consult at 10. Now, all of us, are one way or the other, sort of, what am I going to say? Right. So branding, PR, communications, things like that. These are things we all engage in one way or the other. However, I dare say that we all suck at it. and it's a very crucial part of our lives presently in 2022. Now, for a company to do that and do it so well, so professionally, so efficiently for 10 years, now that's worth celebrating, right? So Mahogany Consult is 10 years old, and this evening we would like to meet the brains behind it, have a chit-chat with them, understand what they do, let them explain to us, why we should give them our business, but ultimately celebrate 10 years, 10 years of existing, and understand what the future looks like. So that's our first conversation. Allow me, please, to welcome our lovely bosses, Madam Asante, Antwi, Managing Partner, Mahogany Consult. Hi, Essie.
Hello,
it's great to see you.
Thank you.
Always. And you're looking lovely. Again, as always.
You always look great.
And then, also Managing Partner, Mahogany Consult, Baaba Coffie. Oh, Baaba. Great to see you again, Babs.
Thank you, Amma. Thank you for inviting us to the couch.
Looking lovely. Love that. Love the colors. If I'd known that this was a theme, perhaps I'd have come with purple.
No, your blue shoes complement everything.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I got the memo. Yes, I got the memo. So, I said from seed to a tree, Mahogany Consult at 10. Let's talk about that. You know that I love the way the words come together, and it's so meaningful. But let's talk about that. From seed to a tree, Mahogany Consult at 10. I love it.
Right. So, from a seed to a tree, for the two of us, and I guess for all of our employees, our clients, and everyone who has supported us, sums up our story from when we started till now. And our name is Mahogany.
Right.
And it's a tree. And every tree, like every plant, started as a seed. But it would only grow if you tender it. First, you need good soil.
Right.
So you have good soil, you plant whatever seed it is, and then you nurse it, and then it grows and grows and grows. And because we are mahogany, we're still in the process of growing into a tree. We are a tree, but we haven't fully matured yet. So this is probably just the first phase of our tree ship. But we're on it. So really, that's what it is. If Baaba and I met when 2009. Yes. So once upon a time. Yeah. So we have a story, and we say once upon a time. So I hope you respond.
Time.
Great. Yeah. There lived two young women who used to work in what we'll say arguably at the time was the agency, the integrated marketing communication agency of the time. And a few things happened, and we say that that agency was a Titanic of the time because it was big, it was great and unthinkable.
Right.
But as we know the story of the Titanic, something happened and that great ship did actually sink. So as it began to sink, and she said, Issy, we need to jump off and start our own. I said, Baaba, are you sure? Because I had said to myself that, you know, when I am 60 and I retire, then I'll start my own business. And at the time, I didn't even know what business I was talking about. But she said, we can start our own business, our own agency. I said, are you sure? She said, yes. Because she had already started when she was in school, started running her own business here and there. So she had that entrepreneurial drive. I said, okay, I believe you if you say so. So we jumped off the sinking ship and we said, yes, we can. We jumped into this big ocean, swam to dry ground, and started Mahogany penniless. We had nothing because we quit our jobs at the time to start Mahogany. And I think at the time, we had, my mother was paying off a loan that I had.
Mine too.
Her mother was doing that, you know, our parents had to take care of her, so we had nothing. But in my bedroom, sitting at my dresser, you know, typically a young lady, you have a dresser, you have a stool. So we'll sit there in my room at the dresser, and that was our first office. And we started consulting here and there. And the good thing, and remember I talked about good soil. So by the grace of God, we learned well because it was a great agency. So we learned well. And our work was pleasing to our clients. And so as the ship was sinking and clients were leaving, they would call up and say, I have this communications job, I have this PR job, I want you to do it. So we're like, we're no longer in that agency. He said, yes, but I want you to do it. And so little by little, the jobs kept coming in, and we sat at the dresser and we started doing the work. And we sat at the dresser for a while. And then after a while, I realized that my dad was not using his garage. So we said, Dad, let me speak fancy. It's okay if you want. And so we put my dad's garage together, we carpeted the place, put in some blinds, and I remember our excitement. It's like we had arrived.
Especially when we put in the AC.
We put in the AC.
Wait, you guys are too high tech for my liking. You guys put that AC in the garage.
Because you know, a typical garage doesn't have windows, right? So we put in an AC, we had some blinds, and we're very excited. And so we sat in the garage up, I think, so we started in 2012 officially. So by 2016, we were ready to move out of the garage because
so you were in the garage for 4 years.
Yes, so we're growing then, and then we moved from the garage into one big room. We had a big office at the University of Ghana campus, and we partitioned the office into 4 rooms. So we had partitioning, and we thought that was great. And yes, we appreciated it. So the seedling was growing, gradually becoming a tree. And then just about last year, so we moved then now into a home office, where now we have a front door, we have offices, we have
No. I don't think you're doing justice to your office. When you say home office, somebody would say...
No, when we say home office, so it's in a nice residential area.
Very nice residential
area. And when we say it's a home office, it actually has a home feel.
It's a whole house.
It's a whole house.
Yes.
It's a whole house with everything you can imagine in an office space, in a modern office space. And that, for us, is one visible evidence of that seed that has become a tree and is still growing. Also, in terms of even our clientele, we started off, we've done all kinds of jobs. I remember one time we got a call from someone from Nigeria, and they needed communications for the soap products. And I mean, we went for the meeting, and then we realized that, they actually wanted us to sell the soap for them. But you know, we picked bag dressed up. They wanted direct marketing. We have done everything, but as we speak right now, we have scaled up in the quality.
So you did do the direct marketing?
No, we didn't do the direct marketing. We had a conversation and said, this is what we offer, not that. But just to tell you that we ran after every opportunity. We tried everything, and over the years, by dint of hard work, one thing that Baaba and I say is that we don't have godfathers or godmothers. We didn't have anyone holding our hand and saying, in fact, this is big seed money to start a business, or I'm going with you and I'm giving you leads. No, we had to look for the leads, pursue the leads, learn as we went along, even how to even put our proposals together. And today, to the glory of God, the quality of our clients, we're doing development cooperation, so we're working with a lot of development organizations, multinationals. We've done finance, we're in so finance and banking, oil and gas, energy, mining, agriculture,
Higher learning.
Okay, so why are you guys being modest? Why don't you just mention the names? Or you are not allowed to?
We want to talk about the industry.
And no, give us the names. I mean, the industry is too big. Give us the names.
I think that will suffice for now. That will suffice for now. You
understand how big this tree is. And no. Branches and fruits that this tree has.
You've seen the vision.
I have.
And to the extent that today, if you talk about the top 3 PR agencies in Ghana, I dare say Mahogany Consult ranks. And even along the line, we have won some awards. So the tree, like I said, the tree is still growing and maturing. And one of our values is endurance. And we say mahogany never dies. And if you know, the mahogany tree is a strong, resilient tree, weathers the storms, very resourceful. From the mahogany tree, the leaves give shade. The tree itself gives wood for all kinds of beautiful furniture. The bark, I know that people use the bark for medicine. In the tree, birds find shade. It's so resourceful, dynamic, and weathers every storm. That's who we are, mahogany, from a seed to a tree.
Listen, if I wasn't in love before, I'm in love now. So you can imagine, now I have fallen flat. This is what was down flat. Now I'm just down like flat. Okay, so, I mean, obviously great choice of name, because I was going to ask about the choice of, and if I answer the question, if I ask, great choice of name. How is it, right, for 2 women to work on a project 10 years and going strong? You know why I'm asking this question, right? Because it's not it's co-partners, compromise, understanding, Charlie, it's not.
Yeah.
2 women.
Yes. I mean, we get this a lot.
Right.
We get asked that question, how is it possible for 2 women? But it is possible, and I am so happy that Issy and I are a living example of that every single day, and we are showing that to the world, and even for younger women who are coming up, that it is possible. How have we been able to do it? There is a basic, is the way we are is number 1.
Right.
So we were brought up, although we are from different families, we were brought up in a way to understand people and be able to work with people easily. So Issy, for instance, cannot pick a fight. I cannot pick a fight. We understand our strengths and our weaknesses. So where she is strong, I am weak. Where I am strong, she is weak. And we appreciate it. We are not competitive. What are we competing against? I mean... About, yes. She is brilliant, for instance,
obviously,
at political communication. I will not attempt to, go in that direction, and so I know my place, and she knows her place. We learn from each other.
If you want to talk about what I'm brilliant at, so let me give you a typical example. So we get a client brief, we do a big brainstorm together with a team, and we put all the ideas together, so we discuss it. Then I sit and piece it together piece a strategy together. Remember, this is a brainstorm, and so I put together that plain text that we're going to do this. This is our introduction. This is the goal. This is the tactics, and I do that. And then I give all that back to her. And Baaba is creative. Remember, she's a creative writer.
No, Baaba is Baaba.
Yes. Baaba is a creative writer. So let me say that. And she writes creatively. She has a background. She's an author, so she has a very creative, imaginative mind, and knows how to bring things together with pictures, images, videos, you name it, and then coupled with her background in theater arts and all that. And so I give that to her, and she would embellish it with the right infographics. and then piece everything together in a beautiful way that when we go to the client presentation, just the face value, even before we speak and you look at this beautiful presentation, you believe in our proposal. And that is a good example of how we work together. I wouldn't even try it because it's not my forte. That's her strength.
It's the way she would write, you know, a speech for the vice president. Yes, I mean, if I can try to do that, and I can do it, but it's a lot of work and it's boring. But for her, it just comes, you know, so easy to her. If you ask me to write a novel, you know, or a video script, or a documentary script where I have to add, you know, that color to it. So we understand the strengths and the weaknesses. And also we understand or appreciate our personalities, you know, who we are as people. And so I know there are times you don't really want to talk, you know, a lot. And maybe she's also, she needs to think, you know, a little bit more, so she's focusing a bit more on her PC or something. You just need to give the person that space. And over time, I think we've even grown better. You know, we've grown to understand each other to a point where we don't have to say it, we just know it, you know. And to a point where we understand we look alike, our voices sound the same. So you would call, you know, one of our staff, and you'll be like, yes, Baaba. That is like, no, I called you. Like, oh, really? You know, so...
I was just about to say that. Your personalities are kind of the same. Kind of. A little bit. And when she said both of us don't like to fight, I was just like, true, so true. So true, so true. But you so know, I'm very non-confrontational, both of you.
I think when you say fight, you know, fight. We all fight. We all fight. Even the person who doesn't like confrontation, says I'm a peace-loving person, doesn't speak. At a certain point, when you're not happy about something,
you voice out.
And you register a complaint. We all fight. I guess, how do you fight, and how rigorous or fierce is that fight is the question. But also, just to add to what Baaba said, we have a mantra, or we have something that we hold on to. And as Christians, the Bible says that how can two walk together unless they be agreed? And it is one Bible verse that is our philosophy for the two of us, that we are mindful of all the time, that we can only work together and walk together unless we are agreed. And how do you agree? That means we're constantly having a conversation. I mean, there are times when I want to pull her hair and yank off her glasses. And I'm sure there are times when she also wants to tweeze my gray hair off. But we don't do that.
And wipe off your red beautiful lipstick.
Red lipstick. But we don't do that because we are mindful of this.
I will do it.
Yes, I'll move from here to here. You know, but because we're mindful of that, and also importantly, as women, we also want to really defy that trajectory that women are their own enemies. It's not so. We women understand women better, and therefore, if any two group of people can work together better, it should be 2 women or 3 women or 4 or 5. And so it's a deliberate, it doesn't happen naturally. We work at it. And we're even conscious to the extent that we always say that, you know what, while sometimes we may be okay with each other, sometimes the people around us would be the source of that conflict. And it happens. You know, somebody could say, but why did you allow her to do that? You should have told her your peace of mind.
Right.
Yeah. And vice versa. But deliberately, we always, because we understand each other, we are also even careful of what the family or friends are also saying, and we weigh it into perspective, because, as I said, we want to show the world that 2 women can work together and not fight.
It's beautiful.
And so far, we're doing that.
We're doing great.
So far, so great.
Yeah.
Yes.
So far, so great. In fact, 2 greats. Okay. So here's what, right? Let's look at the field. You know, the PR communications field. And I mean, even that field by itself you know, in terms of its growth, it's been a journey. We came from a place where nobody thought it's a thing. That's why I started by saying that in our minds, we all think we are PR, you know, and communications, and we do it. We all do it.
Yeah.
And I can give a classic example of Asma. Baba just had to say to me at some point that, hey, Rabba, listen. Right? Because in our minds, we all seem to think that, oh, I can cowboy this. Oh, is it not PR? Oh, is it not branded? Right? So let's talk about the field itself, and perhaps use that to educate us on why it's important to sometimes outsource, you know, to the people who know what they are doing.
So, if you maybe have followed us, we shared an article recently. Brad and I were sharing 10 lessons on our 10-year journey as entrepreneurs. And one of the things that we said in that article was that, you know, you can't be a master of all trades. For every entrepreneur, you found a certain unique business need, and you've come up with a solution, and you're offering a business service for that. And people come to you because you are good in that. In the same way, you also need to learn that whilst we all communicate, and we're all born communicators, we know how to communicate with language, with gestures, everything. And yes, we can do our own branding to a certain extent. And I always tell my students, and we're all economists, aren't we? Because everybody at the beginning of the month, you have a certain amount of money you're going to spend for the rest of the month, and you sit and you plan and you weigh your options and you budget. That's economics in your own micro life. And at the same time, we're all doctors, aren't we? Because when you're sick, you know some remedies here and there. But there are other people who have taken time to study medicine. And so when it's beyond you, beyond the first aid, you go there. In the same way, when it comes to public relations, communications, there are people like us and many other consultants and many other people studied it and know it a bit more. Just like you go to a gym again, and let me draw the analogy. You can all walk into a gym, go on the treadmill and do a few things, and you think you're doing it good, but when you have the instructor says, I think looking at your body and where you want to get to, 10 sit-ups, this here, that here would be perfect. So you go to the expert to help you with your strategy, with that understanding, so that your communications is strategic and it's not as you go along because you think this might work,
not just
or you feel that might work. And that is what gradually we're seeing in the industry, in the growth, that we're moving from a tactical place to a more strategic way of doing things. And that's why today I think public relations is really growing. There are so many schools that are teaching public relations. There is a growth in agencies, and organizations are investing in their communications units. You know,
let me just pick on from there. So as I said, public relations is really growing, even from the time when we were in that big agency, because a few decades ago the focus was on advertising. You know, when you are thinking of publicity, of branding, you are thinking of advertising. But PR, what is public relations? Public relations is about building relationships between your organization and your publics or your stakeholders in a manner that helps you to succeed. All right, and these stakeholders or these publics can help you to succeed. On the flip side, they can also help you to fail. All right, and it is the reason why PR writes on relationship. And why do you need to build that relationship? I mean, you need to build a good reputation. And a good reputation, trust me, is a huge part of your return on investment. It's a huge part of your profit making, because the relationships will take you places where money cannot take you. And the relationship will come through for you when you are in need. You know, it's just like having a good relationship with a daughter or a son, or a bad one as that. In the future, what you have invested really in future would come back to you in the manner in which you invested it, whether good or bad. And so taking time to build these relationships in all manner and forms is very essential for every organization. One of the things that PR does for you is that it shapes the perception that people have about you. You could be doing something great, you know, that nobody knows about. All right. But public relations will help people not just to know about you. You see, PR is not superficial. Public relations is about putting you out there, not necessarily for people to see the outward appearance. Yes, image is important, but reputation is stronger. You know, I can see you today and you look all well put together. That's the image, that's the physical thing I see, that's the outward appearance. But when I engage with you and I experience you, what do I experience? All right, and when I experience you today, might be great, but the next time, then the next, then the next, the consistency. And that is what public relations is doing, because you need to build that relationship, and relationship rides on trust, on integrity, on those things, on transparency, on those things that everybody would love to have in their relationship. And you know what happens when trust is breached. It's the same when it comes to organizations and their stakeholders, whether it is the organization and their customers, the organization and their regulatory bodies, the organization and their community, or wherever it is. That relationship is extremely useful, because when you don't have that relationship, I always tell my students that when the roof of the school starts to burn, we sitting here, we might not see it, but who will see it? Our neighbors.
Right.
So if the neighbor has your number and can call you and alert you, that relationship is going to save you thousands and millions of cities. So in a nutshell, really, that's what PR is all about, and that's what we strive to do. In the past, public relations has been portrayed negatively, you know, as propaganda, and the word propaganda in itself is not necessarily a bad word, but of course,
as scamming, deceiving,
yes, whitewashing,
yes,
and all that. But on the contrary, public relations is about building a good reputation that will last your lifetime. And you cannot do that based on lies and based on whitewashing, because over time people will see through.
You'll be exposed.
But you know, today society has changed thanks to the internet, communication channels abound. So now people are more expressive, and people are demanding more from their organizations, especially beyond the service, beyond the sale of a product or the delivery of a service. They want to engage more because we want those connections. And I think even COVID-19 has re-emphasized the need for relationship building, for connection, for accountability. We need to be responsible one to another. And so even as an organization, you can no longer sit on the fence and say that I refuse to engage with my stakeholders. They will demand it. Thanks to social media now, in the past, let's take our customers, because a lot of us easily think of customers as a very key stakeholder. Customers, if they had a complaint, probably had to write something and put it in a complaint box.
Right.
Or call, there's an office line and call, and they might not be put through to the customer service manager. But today they don't need that.
Physically walk into the establishments.
Now they sit in the comfort of their homes on their phone, and they're making a complaint, and they are making inquiries about the organization. They're asking about this, about that. You have no choice but to engage them. And that's public relations. That's PR. You are engaging with your stakeholders, whether they are customers or employees. Occasionally you see memos, internal memos in an organization gone viral because your employees do not have an outlet probably to vent or to engage, and so they're speaking to the outside world. You can't afford not to engage, whether your employees, whether your customers, even your suppliers. And I think during the COVID era, one of the things that came out when we're looking at the COVID-19 business tracker report was talking about, you know, everything was stuck. So companies were not getting supplies to produce goods and services. We didn't have money. Now people needed to work together. So it wasn't just a matter of, okay, you provide this input for my business. We needed to talk about how do we work together, because we're all locked down. Money is not flowing, but we need to get the business going. We need to supply our customers with whatever. So now you need to engage even your vendors. your suppliers even more. And then the regulatory environment. Today we want to live right. We are looking at our rights, we're looking at the larger society, because if we don't take care of this world, we'll have nothing to live on, okay? And so even when it comes to regulatory bodies, you need to engage them just beyond compliance. You need to have a conversation. So
It's so broad, eh?
It's so
public
broad.
relations is very broad.
So broad.
Wow. And you're so right about, our minds always drifting to the customer as the only
We always say
stakeholder.
that the customer is king, no two ways about it.
But
Without your employees who are probably producing the product that you're selling,
the internal customer.
you don't have a customer to sell to.
Right.
Without your suppliers, you don't have a customer to sell to.
Without
and
the regulator.
if you are not fulfilling your obligations with the regulator, and the regulator says, I'm suspending your license, you
That's
don't
the
even
end.
You're done.
okay? And so every organization needs to sit down with our help, with the help of PR experts, and think through and identify who are our key stakeholders. Why are they important to our business? In what ways can they support us to grow or bring us down? And how do we engage them? And remember, engagement means it's a two-way.
Right.
It's a two-way. And like I said, today, the average human being, you cannot just talk to. Communication has to be effective. There has to be feedback.
Right.
And so how do you engage in a way that supports your business?
Ooh, I love that.
And
Just listening to this, I've learned something.
The last thing
serious.
perhaps I would want to talk about is research. So public relations thrives on research. On what basis am I proposing this? Okay, if I don't have a basis, it will be very difficult for me to propose a strategy that would work for you. Okay, and so if I want to come up with a communication strategy for Obasama,
Right.
what is Obasama? What is it all about? How did it start? So I need to find that out. What do people even think about Obasama? When it started, how was the feeling as against now? All those things come together to help me to craft that strategy that would move Obasama forward.
And I hope it's helping you, because
is
you
helping
are doing exactly what
It
you
is helping
I hope
me.
it is helping you draft the communications for.
So, it is not simple to just sit, for instance, and say, I'm putting together a press conference
Right.
because there's an issue. Why is the channel a press conference?
Right.
And even when you are organizing that press conference, which media houses are you inviting? Why are you inviting them? All these are essential so that you get the mileage that you are looking for. You get the quality even of the reportage that you are looking for. You get the kind of engagement, and then also you reduce any backlash that might be. Sometimes you really don't need a press conference. Sometimes you might need just a press release. So all these are things. So research really is the backbone of public relations.
Wow. I think I have my answer already, because my next question was going to be, why should I come to Mahogany Consult and not somebody else? But I mean, I've answered the question for myself. Listening to you talk. But still, let's answer the question, shall we? Why
So,
Mahogany Consult?
There are three
What are you
things.
offering
There are three things.
that's so different or distinct from somebody else?
So we say that our mantra is that we add value to our client's work and to their person. We add value. No, there are quite a number of PR agencies out there who do very good work. But for us, we need to go that extra mile, and it's not just 1 mile. We go 5 miles, sometimes 10 miles, depending on who the client is and what their needs are, to make sure the job is done and exceed expectation. And I always say that, please go ahead and talk to all our clients. I'll be very happy for you to talk to them, and they would corroborate what I'm saying. And the second thing is that we add value to their person. So we go beyond. There are times a client will call you that, I know this is not PR, but I need this to be done in my house. Can you help me? Or I'm looking for a vendor who does this. I'm looking for that. I may not know the person. I may not have any connections. I'll call Issy. If Issy doesn't know, she'll call somebody. We'll call somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. Issy always says that if you want to go to the moon, tell Mahogany Consult and we'll get you to the moon.
Absolutely.
And that is how we have sustained the work.
Wow.
Our quality, the quality of our work speaks for itself.
Are you affordable?
We cannot do chap.
Are you affordable?
Oh,
yes.
yes. Oh, yes, we're
Oh,
affordable.
yes.
And anybody can knock on your door. Anybody. It doesn't matter how small the company is, the event is, the program is.
So recently, we're talking to someone who has just started the business, and the person said, "Oh, thank you very much. You know, I really appreciate this." And I said, "We believe in you." I said, "Take it from us. We believe in you." How did we start? We started small like you, and so we can't turn anyone away, because we believe that it only takes a seed to become a tree. So everyone can afford us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So come, let's have a conversation.
Let's have a conversation.
Yes.
Let's have a conversation. Before you leave, please leave your number. Before you leave, somebody wants to call you up or anything. But final. What do we have lined up for our 10th anniversary? Where is the cake?
Yes.
Where is the cake?
Oh.
How do I get
We ate the
We
cake
ate the cake.
on the 10th of February. So 10th
the
February
anniversary date?
was the anniversary date. 10th February 2022 was exactly 10 years that we
We
started.
can have a Pan-African version of the celebration and have a new cake. What do you think?
New cake.
Yeah?
Okay.
Okay. So yes, this year we, as Issy just said,
Right.
10th anniversary was 10th February, and we've had a number of activities. We launched the celebration, and we've written this article. I mean, we did an internal launch. We've had a lot of fun, you know, engaged with our media people, quite a number of things. But currently we are in September, and we are planning. So every year we organize a workshop called PR 101 for SMEs and startups, and this is a corporate social initiative. And so you only pay for the resources. You're not paying for our time. So you only pay for really your lunch and snacks, right? And you come in, and we teach you how you can build your PR skills, so you can actually use PR to build your business again, to be more profitable. And so this year we are doing a special 10th anniversary edition of that workshop, PR 101, and it is happening on the 15th of October. We would leave the number so that people can
Please mention
call.
the number. Mention the number.
So the number is, I have to come back and say it, but I've forgotten the number.
So let's find the number.
Yes.
Let's
okay.
find the number.
The office.
Dora.
Okay, Dora's number.
Yes.
So if you continue, Baaba continues, you can find the number.
Okay, so the number is 0571 255 55. Let me say that again.
Please do.
0571 125 555.
So the ones are two.
The ones are two.
0571 125
555. Yes. And so call this number and find out more about PR 101, how you can get registered and how you can get in. And this workshop is our way of also giving back. You know, a number of SMEs and startups do not really understand how they can use communication to move their business forward, to build the business in a way that would bring them profit. And then also, you know, the lack of knowledge about what PR really exists, and that's the truth. Many people don't understand what PR is. So learning what public relations is, learning how to engage your stakeholders, learning how that makes you profitable, all of that is important. And so that is happening in October, on October 15th. And then at the end of October, and again, every
stuff, great stuff, blah, blah. So, okay. So, 10 years, surely there's something you want to say to somebody. Surely, the 10 years of your existence, definitely.
Yeah.
You want to leave us with some nuggets. something.
I think before the nuggets, let's do this before we forget to say thank you.
Right.
Because we couldn't have done it on our own. We always tell our staff that don't think that you're not important. You are. When we say it, we mean it. Because Baaba and I cannot do the work by ourselves. But even before we get to our employees, we want to say thank you to our parents and our siblings who have supported us. You remember I said my father gave us his garage. Baaba's parents supported us with some money at a point. Another time, my mother was paying things here and there for us. Another time, my father gave us his old desktop.
Yes.
Our siblings were very supportive. And so we thank our family very much for believing in us, and that is our extended family, and even now our husbands. Because really, without their support and understanding the kind of work that we do, and the fact that often we have to be out there and be the loud ones, without that support, we couldn't have even come this far. So a big thank you to our husbands, who incidentally are both accountants.
How that happened?
I know.
We have no idea.
I know.
Yeah.
So thank
So
you.
you guys entered an accounting class and just choose one each. I'm guessing.
Yeah, you get right. Yes. I chose first, and I made her choose.
Yes. So a big thank you to our family and our friends who also gave us the encouragement, who said, go for it, I know you can do it, and who would recommend people to us, who would send us business.
At the end of the day, that's the most important.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you to all of them, and Baaba will do the others.
Yes, so I mean, we need to say a big thank you to our employees, our staff. At Mahogany, we are on first name basis. Nobody's Madam, nobody's Auntie, nobody's Ma. And Baaba is his AC. And we have, been together with this team for all this while. Some have fallen off, others have come in, but really we have a good relationship with each one of them, whether they are with us now or they have moved on. And so a big thank you to Mahogany team. They are as driven as we are. We push them, we know. They work long hours sometimes. They think through things, but they have done a great job. And it is because of them that we can even sit here and boast, of the kind of clients that we service. And then also we need to say thank you to our clients. There are some clients who come in and trust me, Amma, you would not want to work with them. Because it's not just about the work, it's also about the relationship. The relationship helps, achieve the goals and the objectives of whichever project you are working on. But thanks be to God, most of our clients, really, they understand the vision, they see where we are going, they trust us with their business, and that in itself helps us to deliver. So thank you for all those multinationals, for those big organizations who have trusted your communications with Mahogany Consult, with these two not so young ladies any longer,
Still young.
So thank you. And thank you to you and all our media partners. We couldn't have come this far without our media partners. The fact that we can call somebody a joy and make it happen. The fact that I know Pratt and I can call her and she does it for me, So our media friends are very important to the work that we do. So thank you.
And then, of course, our other partners, those who support us with other services when it comes to events. Thank you. Together we make it happen. Make it happen. One thing in that no man is an island. And so I don't think there's anyone who has ever done anything all by themselves. No, it's always teamwork.
No, it takes a village.
It takes a village. It takes a village. So
takes
thank you all.
No, thank you. Even today, just sitting here and listening to both of you, I've learned. It's just that I have
We're
learned.
glad.
I have learned. And I have to say this before you leave. I love the multiplicity of what you do. Because Mahogany Consult, I can say boldly that you are not just about one thing. you do so much. You know, there's so much you do, and it's not just, you're also concerned about affecting lives, right? It's not just about we are communicating and we are doing PR. No. You take on social responsibility, social interventions, things like that, and your existence is benefiting, you know, us, you know, in more ways than one. And I appreciate that about
Thank you.
I really do.
Thank
So
you.
congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next 10 years we'll be back here.
Oh yes.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. I would have a purple shoe.
I'll be
Baaba
wearing
would have a
a red one this time.
right.
Maybe probably some peach.
Yeah.
I love that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
keep
you.
Going, keep going.
And thank you for having us on this show.
Anytime.
Yes.
I enjoy you. Let me say this. I enjoy you. So just call me up and we'll make it happen. In fact, if you want a day that you can just, you know, can we give you a day? So from seed to a tree, Mahogany Consults at 10. Please do call them up for your business. Even those of us in the media, I think we are the most guilty of this because we communicate. We kind of think we are communicators, but no, we are not. And we definitely are not PR, you know, anything. So please trust your business. Put your business in the right hands. Today we have all learned, including myself, that it's not just about the customer. You have so many other stakeholders if you want your business to thrive. And you do want your business to thrive. And paying for PR, paying for communications is essential to your business thriving. So this is the number again. It's 057 115 5555. 027 115 112. No, let me say it again. 057 112 5555. 057 112 5555. Call them. That's all I'm saying. Just call them and have a conversation. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We will be back with the second half of our conversation. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Now, I told you in the beginning of today's show that today we have two conversations. I told you that we had a lovely conversation which we've just had with the partners from Mahogany Consults. Now, the second half of our conversation is not so lovely. Let me explain a little bit. Now, all of us know the cost of fuel today. We all know, you know, what's happening with our economy and specifically what's happening with fuel today. So, I mean, going to any fuel station by itself today in Ghana isn't a pleasant experience for anybody. We all go there, you know, with a little bit of unrest, right? Because of the price, there's one. But also, we all know of fuel stations that we are not comfortable going to because we feel that the fuel there might not be up to scratch, might not be up to the standard that we expect. And so, all of us, no, let me say most of us have preferred, you know, fuel stations that we would really like to purchase from. And there are some very standard ones that we all, you know, like to buy from. Now, my next guest speaks about a very unpleasant experience at one such filling station. Now, and I'm being very charitable. I want him to tell his story. It's not my story to tell. And so I introduce it that way. And the consequences, you know, of his experience for all of us as Ghanaians, and even for life and death. I talk too much. I say this all the time. Let me introduce John Michael Appiah-Acheampong. He's a social worker and a community development consultant. Hi, John.
Hi, Amma.
It's always a pleasure. Unfortunately, not today.
I know.
Right?
I know.
But hopefully we'll make it a learning experience.
True.
Hopefully for all of us. Tell us what happened.
Okay. So my Rotary club had to be in Hull for a humanitarian project, and we had a whole weekend planned out with the project and dinner and lunch and everything. But I use a salon car. It's a Mercedes, and the road to Hull is not a very good one. So I reached out to my friend Edmond and asked him if he would come along to Ho, and he obliged. He uses a Ford Explorer. So we had a nice trip to Ho. And then the Sunday, we were all supposed to meet for lunch and then head back to Accra. But Edmond had to be in Accra because he had a business meeting. So I had to say goodbye to everybody, and we left early with the hopes of getting to Accra for about 3 o'clock for the meeting. Then we got to Atimpoku and at just about 12 o'clock, decided to fuel, filled our tank, and then just about a kilometer or so from the Shell, from a Shell petrol station actually, the car started really shaking and vibrating, and then the engine died. At this point, one, is raining, we have cars honking, and everybody's a bit in a phase. So we get out, we push the car to the roadside, and we asked for a mechanic. But because it was raining, we had to sit in and wait till the rain subsided, and then we got someone to find us a mechanic. The mechanic came and asked us what the problem was, and we said the car just died. He said what happened before, and we said the car started shaking and then the engine died. And then he asked if we had gotten fuel. We said yes. He said from the Shell. We said yes, and he said then it's the fuel. And that why was it diesel they gave us instead of petrol? He said no, but the fuel is probably diluted. And I was like, how does he know this? So to prove it, he opens the engine, pulls out a tube, then we get a clear bottle, and he asks us to crank the engine.
We have the video. I hope that the producers will let this video play, as Michael is telling the story.
He says,
the video of the, fuel being put into the bottle.
Yeah, so he says we should crank it. We cranked it, the fuel went in the bottle, and about 60-70% of the content was just water with a little bit of fuel at the top. We're like, wow, how did that happen? And so, we ask what can be done. He says, well, we have to drain out all the fuel, and then hopefully it's not affected anything else, and then they'll be able to refuel it. Yeah, that's it up there. And
so wait, explain this to me.
So the deeper color you see at the top is the petrol, because it's lighter than water, so it comes to the top, and all of what you see at the bottom is water.
So there's a mechanic when he pours the fuel from your car?
Yes, there's a car right behind him. So he reaches out and informs.
So everything down there is water?
It's water, yeah, dirty water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please go on.
Okay. So he reaches out to inform the Shell manager, whose number he had, surprisingly, because according to him, this wasn't the first time, and even 3 weeks prior, a similar incident had occurred. We stayed there for a while, then the rain, we went and stood in the shade. Eventually, when they got round to starting work on taking the fuel out of the tank, it had been about an hour over when we stopped. So we got in the taxi with my friend Edmond, went back to the station to address this issue. We get there, and there's a car there, fueling, petrol. So we stop the attendant, and we ask for the manager, and we tell the person, look, the fuel is diluted, there's water in the fuel, don't start your car. We ask for the manager, and he comes out with 2 jerry cans, and he says, oh, he was coming to us. I was like, do you know who he is? I said, yes, the ones whose car had stopped. Like, so you are aware that there was water in the fuel?
So he was bringing you fuel?
Yes, he was getting jerry cans to go and get fuel from Goel to bring so that we can fill our tank after. Now, like, when you heard about it, what did you do? He said he instructed the boys not to sell. I was like, you are right here on the station, and they are still fueling people's cars. And this is where they blatantly knew. They knew the fuel had water in it, and they were serving it. So the person calls a mechanic, and lo and behold, it's the same mechanic. So apparently, whenever they have this problem, he's the one who sorts it out. So
they have a resident mechanic for water in the fuel?
Well, he's a good mechanic, but he's the one who deals with these problems. Everybody was calling him, but because it was by our car, he had to work on it. At this time, we realized there was no way Edmond will make his meeting, So he ends up having to message the partners and say, look, this has happened and can we postpone it? And the meeting didn't get postponed. They were actually upset because they felt it had been a waste of time and he was being unprofessional. And this, I mean, it hurt him because he's very serious about work, and so this wasn't amusing. But anyway, give or take 5-6 hours into it, they're done draining all the diluted or contaminated fuel, and we're looking for the manager. He's still not come with the jerry can because he had gone to all the other places where other cars had a similar issue from that day. We went back to the station, and the guys were serving fuel again. So I took out my phone and I said, why are you still serving? Because your managers had called from Vivo to say your station had been closed down. This was 5 hours after the incident, by the way.
Okay. So at this point, I'd ask you to stop. Let's play the video of you when you got to the filling station.
Yeah.
5 hours after you had found contaminated fuel in your car.
Yes.
You had made a few calls. You had been assured that the station had been closed down. Nobody was selling contaminated fuel at that station.
Yes.
5 hours later, you get there looking for the manager to seek for fuel. Yes. And you go and find out that still they are selling.
But what he said was that they were selling diesel and not petrol. But the pump where we had stopped the guy, which had 70, now had 50 something on it. So it was clearly they had still sold, even after we had come and kicked up a fuss, they had still sold 50 cedis worth of fuel to somebody.
I want us to watch the video.
Okay.
Let's watch the video and come back.
I asked you a question. Didn't the office say they closed down the station? I got a call from Vivo that this station has been closed, and you are saying you are not selling super, but you are selling diesel. Are you selling diesel? Okay, I'm sending a video to Vivo. I just need you to know, because when they called me, they said they've closed down the station, and you are here saying you don't have super, but you are selling diesel. Okay, because I realized the time the other guy do 70 something, we cut 50, so they must have sold to somebody, you know. Okay.
Welcome back. So that was you, not too happy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So eventually we find the manager. He has someone bring a jerry can of fuel. They get it in the tank. We go to Guel, we fill up the tank, and they pay for the fuel for refilling it. When we left, stopped at our house, and she had dinner, then went back to Accra. All this time, my kids are at a friend's house, and I couldn't pick them up. They had to sleep over another day, you know, because we didn't get back to town on time. Now, all through this time, we've had interaction with the management. So eventually, one of their managers calls and I say, "Did you not say your station had been closed down?" And he said, "Oh, they've been closed down." I said, "No, but they're still selling." The guy said they're selling diesel, and they had already sold fuel after we had stopped them. And he said, "Oh, the petrol tank was affected, but wouldn't necessarily affect the diesel." And I said, "Yeah, but shutdown means you are not in operation, you're not working." But he seemed to think it was okay. So I reached out to MPA as well to complain, and eventually it got shut down. So for me, it was a bit surprising. It looked like damage control when I saw a publication from Shell the Monday saying the moment they heard about it, they shut down the station. I was like, this isn't true. They didn't shut down the station, and the 2 occasions we had gone there after they knew the station was still operational, and the figures there showed that they were still making sales, even though they were aware that the fuel was contaminated. And I feel we deserve better. I mean, when I'm outside Accra, I don't want to fuel from anywhere else apart from Shell. My friend Edmond fuels from Guel all the time, and I said, "Oh, let's buy from Shell because I buy from Shell."
No, these are 2 very credible sources.
And so for me, it was painful and it was alarming. I was like, wow. So if Shell can do it, then everybody can do it as well.
I get
it, but it's just that for me, it was that break of my trust. Like my trust in Shell was broken, that I always buy. I have a Shell card. I'm always buying from Shell. I work out at Fitness One Gym in Airport. I always finish and I flow at the Shell there, and so Shell is my go-to place. So for that trust I had in Shell to be broken in such a fashion over that, and then it suddenly sinks in. Wow. So what if we had been speeding when this had happened? And I'm thinking, I have a wife, I have kids. What then happens? And it's just, I feel. So at the time, I felt okay. Maybe it was an isolated situation. Then it keeps hitting me about the mechanics that happened previously. So they are aware of it. Whether the regulatory bodies doing, there's NPA, there's everybody else who's responsible for making sure these things don't happen. As far as I'm concerned, they have to do testing in the tank every morning. And especially when it rains and you know that you don't have a tank with an airtight lid. Now, one could argue that maybe it's a normal occurrence, but it can't be normal. In the States and other parts of the world, it floods and water still doesn't go in the tanks. Their station is situated right next to Gull, and Gull's petrol was fine. So clearly it is not an issue of that area flooding, it's an issue with a faulty tank that they have.
No, but John, let's think about it this way. Let's even assume that there's a faulty tank that gets flooded, right? Let's even assume if there's a faulty tank that gets flooded, that's a loss.
Yes.
You can't sell that fuel.
Yes.
You can't.
Yes.
So let's even grant that there's a faulty tank that gets, flooded every now and then. It means that that station should not
be operational.
Operational.
Yes.
That's all it means.
Yes.
Because you can't sell this fuel to me. You can't let me put water into my tank knowingly. You cannot do that.
When I put it out on social media, I had friends reaching out to me to share their stories. I had a friend of mine, Coffie, saying he fueled as well at Shell, and he had driven off for a few kilometers. He said his engine blasted. He said some of the debris from his engine was about 150 meters away. If I open my phone, I can read comments that people sent to me, and one of them that stood out was actually from a female friend of mine who spoke about I think a Cropon shell or a bee shell, and what she said was let me see, I should have it here. So she sent me a message when my post went out and said but do you know the same thing happened to Andy and I in Ebri? Same Shell filling station. The car was destroyed beyond repairs till date. It was a Safari 4-wheel drive. It left us on our way to Accra. So at this point, I start wondering, is it that Shell takes us for granted, takes the consumer for granted, or Shell is not concerned about safety, about the quality of fuel being put out? Because it isn't acceptable if so many people have experiences that have to do with Shell. So at that point, I realized, no, this isn't one of the ones that should be brushed under the rug. Everybody does say they do some damage control, it gets brushed under the rug. But it's not good enough. They need to feel it, and clearly their motivation is their profits. They prefer to sell even when they know it's contaminated. What
have you done? So come back to Accra,
okay.
With this experience. What have you done?
Okay.
Have you been to Shell? Have you made?
They reached out a few times. One, they were only concerned with how the car was and whether it had done a full check. Then the second was to reach out to my friend Edmond, who was in the car with me. Almost to try and create a rift, because they wanted to know why I was on social media or I was doing interviews, because it is his car, so he should be doing it. And so he got upset and asked them that if your negligence had caused us to have an accident, would he have died any differently from me? Would the people who are dependent on him have lost any differently from the people who are dependent on me? And it felt to me like it's that entitlement, it's that feeling of disregard. So we made a mistake. And it's also even about the mindset that makes you feel like, oh, you're only obligated to deal with the owner of the car. Like, you don't see that you put everybody in that car's life at risk.
And everybody else on that road.
Exactly, but Shell clearly didn't care about that. They felt like, oh, well, once you can compensate you, the driver, everybody else will shut up. It will go away. It's one of those things. that upset me. That for lack of better, that pissed me off. And for me, I'm an advocate. I do a lot of work on advocacy, and I feel for consumer protection, for the sake of our sanity, for us to be able to go to a fuel station and expect that we are getting what we are paid for, or we are paying for, Shell needs to pay.
Next steps.
So we engaged a law firm, Black Blacksword, and we served them a writ yesterday. One for replacement of the car. Oh, and I forgot. So a few days after, Edmond went and visited his family, and on his way back at Kaswa, the engine again just died. And so whatever the problem is, however it manifests, there's still something, and so we served them a writ. One, asking for them to replace the car. Two, for them to cover the cost of the rental of the car he's having to use now, because now he's afraid to use the car. He doesn't know what is going to happen next. And then for the damages sought to the tune of about $2.5 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But I mean, there are other implications, isn't it? I mean, you've after this incident, you've thought through this, you've had conversations around it, and we've spoken about this privately, and you sort of even draw parallels between what happened with a disaster that happened,
yes,
in this country some time ago.
Yeah, June 3rd. I mean, everybody, the whole nation was shaken by this incident at Circle, and we felt that it was a lesson enough. I mean, every station would be on their guard and would not want to ever be caught in a situation like this. And this is a very similar situation because, look, water is heavier than fuel. So if the tank is leaking, then when more water goes in, the fuel is going to come out. If the area floods, then it means the fuel coming out will float along. And so if there's a spark from anywhere, boom. Look at where the Acheampong Shell is. Look at all the homes and businesses around where the station is. And then every place goes up. Why? Because Shell was negligent. Because Shell didn't care about human lives.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I would ask you for your final words, and then we can leave.
Well, I want to say shame on Shell and Vivo for a station of their standing. They need to take their responsibilities to the public seriously. They need to make this right. And for the regulatory bodies, I believe they also need to up their game. If they do inspections and the stations are not fit to operate, they shouldn't operate. And if the regulatory bodies are doing what they're supposed to be doing, then a lot of these things can be avoided.
Thank you once again. Thank you. Because oftentimes, and it's not just with this one, with everything else, as consumers, especially here in Ghana, I think that we tend to get taken for granted.
Yes.
And most of us do not speak up. And it's about time that we break that culture and find our voices and speak up when things are not done right by us. It has dire consequences, dire implications, and we just need to speak up, and we need to hold corporations, no matter how huge and humongous, to use my 4-year-old child's words, they are. We need to hold them accountable.
We do.
This is our lives. This is about our lives. We can't. So thank you. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for watching. We will bring you the concluding part of this. We are not letting this one go. We would follow this one to its logical conclusion. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Truly African.
Otegon chobalo, mwade mangano. Idonte, I've been searching for you. Otegon chobalo, asadimo yoko. Idonte, I've been searching for you. Fortunately, yo, wefunu watadima. I want tata beya, baby na sweet papa. Baby get it something, no nekene no watangwelu something, no hachalugo wani, mwabu gebo ibo. Wata makata malele, yeah. Makata makata, makata